Hey, good afternoon, everybody. Thank you for joining us today for our first webinar of 2023. We are excited to once again kind of pop on here and talk through our new UltraView cameras, both our UltraView camera for leak detection and our camera that does both leak detection and partial discharge detection. So we're really excited about these. We launched them back in early September, I believe it was. Lots of interest. We've been, at different conferences, and they just seem to be kind of all the rave right now. So, or all the rage rather. So we are excited to hop on here, like I said, and kind of talk through how the cameras work, and what kind of sets them apart from other acoustic imagers that are out there on the market. So again, thank you for being with us. Just some housekeeping before we turn things over to Alex. So one, we are recording this, so we will post the recording up on our YouTube channel later today. So if you have to hop off early, or if you've got colleagues that couldn't make it that you want to share this information with, that'll be on our YouTube channel along with all of our other recorded webinars. So it's a nice resource over there for you. Also, we do encourage questions. You can type them into the little questions box. I'll keep an eye on those throughout the webinar, and we'll toss questions to Alex as it makes sense throughout the presentation. And then of course we'll have time at the end for some more. If we don't get to everybody's questions, or if somebody's got a real more specific question that needs kind of a longer explanation, we'll be sure we get with you offline to get those questions answered. So if we don't get to yours, don't worry, we will for sure get everybody's questions addressed. And of course, we always like to remind, we are doing this live. We love being able to do these live. Kind of helps us all feel like we're a little bit connected, even though we're all, all over the place. But with that, if we do have any technical issues, internet goes out, audio gets wonky, things like that, just bear with us. We'll jump on fixing those things as quickly as we can. But we take that little bit of a risk for the benefit of doing these live for you all. So with that, I am going to welcome my colleague, Alex Cooper. And Alex, let me just change the screen over here to you, and then we will let you take it away. I think you're on mute, Alex, so if you're trying to communicate, we're not hearing you. But we are starting to see your screen. Uh-oh. Looks like he's trying to text me something. Hold on a second. I know, I don't, there, oh, there, okay, I guess I had him muted. Okay, sorry, folks. Like I said, we're doing this live. I apologize for that. Welcome to 2023, Alex. Sorry.
No worries, no worries. Thank you so much, Maureen. I think we're all good now. Welcome, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us. I am extremely excited to be able to present this presentation and to talk about our new product, like Maureen said, the UltraView camera. And we're going to go over a lot today, but some of the really cool functions, stuff that I get really excited to talk about. So let's just get it started. So like Maureen said, there are two versions of the camera, one that allows you or gives you the capability to find compressed air and gas leaks, and the other version that allows you to do those things, but in addition, it allows you to do partial discharge detection for electrical testing and inspecting. So I'll be covering both today, and we'll go over some theory and just exactly how this device works. All right, so let's start with our compressed air leak detection. So before I begin, let's get some class participation, and let's start with a poll question. Let's just read the room and see who we have. Who is currently using ultrasound?
All right, so you're going to see a little poll go up. So just pick yes, no. We're just kind of trying to get a feel for how familiar folks are with the technology. So thank you in advance for answering. Looks like we've got about 73, 75% yeses, Alex, and about 20, 30-ish% are no's. So there you go. Thank you for participating. We got a few more of these, so stay awake.
All right, thank you. All right, 75%, that's really good. So we got a room full of experts, so you guys will be able to follow right along. So when it comes to leak detection, it can be a very, very important application that we sometimes let slip to the side. And I'll tell you, for one, when we put numbers to things, I think that's when people really get a strong sense for how important they are, right? So it's estimated that 30% of manufacturing facilities use electricity for their air compressors. So when we look at that middle number, 1/3 of all compressed air is wasted, right? Just through misuse and pressure drops. We're looking at 33% of our compressed air just out the door. And if you have a facility that runs 24/7 or pretty close to it, then that's a lot of waste consistently, right? So just by looking at a typical 200 horsepower compressor that runs 600 to 800 hours a year, you could save up to $40,000 just by getting those leaks repaired. And that starts from being able to identify where those leaks are so we can make a plan to remedy those. Now, why would you use ultrasound, right? So I'm sure some of you, sounds like the majority of you are familiar with our tools. So our ultra probes, right? So we use ultrasound to be able to listen, right? So whenever I do a training with our ultra probes for leak detection, I categorize it, or I call it Marco Polo, because you're using sound exclusively to find those leaks. So the camera, it operates with a lot of those same characteristics to be able to find those leaks. Turbulence is going to be caused in the atmosphere whenever gas is escaping into it, right? And that turbulence is going to cause a high frequency tone, and that's how our camera is picking it up. Now, a lot of people say to me, "Hey, Alex, we got a really noisy environment, right? We got forklifts going everywhere, we got fans, we got motors. We're not going to be able to pick up those sounds that you're looking for, those high frequency sounds." Well, lucky for all of us, we're listening on a very different frequency than the low frequency tones that competing sound is on. And for all those other high frequency tones, we're blocking those out. This device is extremely intelligent, and it's blocking out those sounds that aren't air leaks, right? And then, just as a fact of ultrasound, it's very directional, right? So we know exactly where that sound is coming from, which makes it a lot easier to pinpoint where those leaks are. Now, before we jump on, I do have a second poll question. So if you guys can get ready, the second one, for those of you that are using ultrasound, are you guys using it for leak detection, electrical inspection, or both?
And we know probably you're using it for other things as well, but for this webinar, I'm kind of curious on the leak and electrical side of things. So let's see, we got about 50% saying kind of just leaks and 50% saying they're doing both. So not a lot of people are doing just electrical and not doing leaks, but it sounds like we've got a nice mix of a lot of folks worried about leak detection and a lot of folks worried about both. Thank
Okay,
you.
awesome. Thank you guys. I appreciate it. All right, now there's going to be a lot of information shared today, but if you guys pick up on just one thing, I want you to remember this, right? This is going to be the really important piece. I want you to look at the face of that camera. Look at all those dimples, all those indentations. Each one of those is a sensor, and pretty much it's a microphone, right? And that's how this device is able to pick up the smallest of leaks. And it's able to also do it from a very great distance. And we'll get into what that distance is in a moment. But as you can see, each one of those dimples, they're not even symmetrical in some places. They're put or placed exactly where they need to be for the highest form of accuracy. Now, when it comes to picking up a small leak, like I don't know how much you guys remember your decimal value chart, but up to 4,000th of a liter, right? And then 1,400 thousandths of a CFM. That's how small of a leak that this device can capture. And you might say, man, when it comes to air, that's not going to cost me too much. Well, if you have multiple hundreds, maybe even thousands of those leaks, then it definitely would, right? So why 124? Why so many sensors? Why not 125? Why not 1,000 sensors, right? So 10 years of research and development went into this device, right? And what we've learned from that, one of the pieces we learned is that with 124, it gives us the greatest chance for accuracy, also at a very good distance, right? And that's one of the big features that allows this device to separate itself on the market, because not only can you find some of those small leaks, but you can do it at a distance of over 400 feet, right? Which is really unheard of when it comes to leak detection. And for all those sensors, all 124 of them, there's a lot of processing that has to go on this device. So you'll see when you have it in your hands, you have all these vents on the side and on the top of it. It's working to get some of that heat that's generated out, because this device is working, right? We'll talk about all the things that it's doing simultaneously, but there's a lot of built-in processing power that allows it to do a lot of different functions. So with all that, right, we made this device extremely smart and able to do a lot of different features, but it's also super simple to use, right? We always try to keep that in mind. We want to make it very easy for the user, right? So just point and shoot, and you're going to use that as a regular old camera, right? Whichever area you want to survey or look at or find, if you have any issues, you point that camera towards it and you allow the camera to do the work. So like I said, it's going to be able to find those super small leaks, but it's also going to give you a wider area and do it faster than we normally did by using any other method, right? And then you're going to be able to see that exact location, an estimate for what it would cost you over the span of a year if you don't get that leak repaired, and also the size of that leak. So all those things are going to be present to you on your screen as you're doing your leak survey. Now, one of the really cool things that it does is it allows you to see that leak very clearly. It almost shows up as a heat signature on your screen. You can see it's a black and white display, and the color is going to denote exactly where that leak is coming from. Now, as that color changes, so you'll see greens, and you'll see a darker yellow, and then a deep orange is going to show you exactly where that force is coming from, where that leak is. And like I said, from up to over 430 feet away, right? And that's really big when it comes to leak detection. Now, how does that device work? That on-camera analytics is going to recognize the sound of a leak and discern it from the sound of maybe a forklift or a shop fan or a motor, and say, hey, this is a leak, and it's going to cancel out some of those false positives that we might have seen in other methods. It's going to show you, like I said, that clear location of where that leak is. It's going to show you that leak size and cost estimate, as well as putting it in a very understandable format. So you can change the currency value on your device. If you're using USD, US dollars, it's going to show you, just the amount of dollars that you can save, or what that leak is costing you over the course of a year. And that's real time. Now, I want to talk about some of the AI-driven functionalities, right? It's really cool to be able to see some of the functions that it can do, but the device is also has some artificial intelligence involved as well. So it's going to be able to tell you exactly how far away the camera is from that leak that it found. And also, there's some filters that allows it to do an even better job of blocking out some competing ultrasounds or sounds that's around it. We'll cover what some of those filters are. Now, you have three different options. You have the SLM version. What that does is it's going to filter out some of those competing sounds, but this is going to be used to find some of those smaller leaks. Let's say you're in an area and you're like, man, I don't know if we have anything over here. Nothing's glaring out, so I'm going to use this to see. And you can cycle through these different filters as you go. You don't have to set one and be locked in. You can cycle in continuously if you like as well. Then you have the Ultra filter that allows you to block out strong background noise, but you only want to use this filter at short distances. So if you can be within 10, 15, 20 feet, that's when you want to use this one. And then the high filter, which I use most often, that's going to block out your noises, but it's going to give you that good detection distance that we talked about earlier. So that one kind of is a catch-all but you just wouldn't want to use that for some of your small pinhole leaks. Now, we talked a bit already about those 124 sensors. They're essentially microphones that amplify that sound of that leak. So we know exactly how big it is, what it's costing us. Well, just some science behind that is that as sound travels through the air, it weakens, right? It dissipates, and that's just natural. So by the time it gets double its distance from its source, it's going to have a reduction of 6 decibels, right? And why that's important is because we use that force that's being generated from that leak to calculate the cost, to calculate the size of that leak. So with this device being as accurate as it is, you can still be from a good distance and find out exactly what it's costing you and not have to worry about the accuracy at all, right? So that's the big deal when it comes to accuracy versus your range, because it wouldn't be as efficient if that accuracy was off when you're at your 400 feet away or 300, whatever it may be. So here's some leak examples of what it would look like on the screen. So you have a refrigerant leak on the left. You can see that dark color pointing out at you, and it's going to be usually when you're on a leak server, it's going to show you those usual suspects, right? Your connectors, your hoses, your regulators. Usually that's where you're going to find those leaks, but it's going to pinpoint out to you. And as you do a little bit more searching inside your reporting, which I'll get into next, you can even refine that signature even more, so we know exactly where that leak is coming from. So when it comes to reporting, this device goes above and beyond, right? So one of the really cool things about the UltraView is that it allows you to be connected constantly. So you have the option to connect via Wi-Fi, connect this device via Wi-Fi at your facility. And as you're taking pictures, as you're finding different leaks throughout your facility, it's uploading that information to the UltraView cloud in real time, right? Now, I know some of you are saying, well, what if we don't have Wi-Fi in a specific spot, or what if the connection's kind of shaky? Well, no worries. You can use your phone as a hotspot, or if there's no connectivity at all, if you can't have your phone at the facility, then once you get back to a point where you do have Wi-Fi, like back in your office, it will upload. It will save a lot of information and still upload it. As well as if you can't connect, period, or you don't want to connect, period, just because of security issues, you can hardwire your device to the UltraView cloud just by a USB cord and upload that information. So it's not like all the information is lost. If you can't get Wi-Fi, it's going to save. But the really cool function of uploading as you go just saves time and allows you to have the report ready for you as soon as you get back into the office. And not only is it saving the report of where you found, but it's also going to save a 4-second video clip of every quote unquote picture you take. Now you can take videos, but every picture you take will automatically save a 4-second video reel, as well as the sound of what that leak sounds like as well. And as you can see on the left, it's going to give you your estimated leak size and estimated annual cost in a very understandable format. And as you can see right there, just a clear breakdown of what a leak would look like. I'm standing at a good distance and seemingly in a place where I wouldn't be able to kind of go into unless I knew that there was an issue. And that onboarding computing does a really good job of breaking out or discerning what is a leak rather than what's just normal sounds that's at a facility. And that's the smart AI working. That's the 10 years of research and development working continuously to make sure that you don't have any false positives. Now, if you're used at all to our leak survey process, you've seen, excuse me, some of our graphs on how we get our calculations, and we're using that same information, right? And our leak survey app is going to work in conjunction with this, but it takes all that information that we had used previously, and it's integrating it now into this UltraView camera. So in conclusion, for leak detection, why would you use this camera? Why is this something that you should be interested in? Well, for number one, the ease of it alone, right? I'm going to be way more efficient. I'm just going to literally be pointing and shooting at an area that I want to search, and it's going to do a large area quickly that allows me to be more efficient with my leak survey. Number two is it's going to be able to find those leaks even in the loudest environment, and those three filters are going to help you with that. And then lastly, it's going to go that extra step and show you how severe that leak is, what that cost is. You don't have to break down anything. It's going to show you real time. And as you get back into your office or a place where you can get onto that UltraView cloud, you can generate a report, and all that information is going to be there for everyone to see. Now, we're going to move on from leaks, and we are going to move on to the partial discharge detection portion of the UltraView, which is a very cool function, a very cool feature. It kind of uses some of the elements that it uses in leak detection, but goes in a little bit more. Now, just like with leak detection, we're going to go over some of the numbers, right? When it comes to electrical, it can be pretty costly, right? So industries can lose almost $6.5 million per downtime from electrical failures. And then the biggest deal, one of the things that we talk about at UE Systems all the time, is safety, right? In 2020 alone, there are 126 fatal electrical anomalies. And if we can do anything to mitigate that, right, we want to be able to find ways to stop that and reduce that. And the UltraView is something that we can use at a safe distance, and it's going to tell us what's going on so that we can avoid some of these issues. And then lastly, efficiency, right? So when we go on electrical testing and inspecting, it's time consuming. The UltraView camera allows you to do a wider area in a shorter amount of time with the same level of accuracy. Now, how does it do this, right? Why are we using ultrasound for this? Well, just like in leak detection, we're picking up that turbulence, and that turbulence is causing a high frequency tone. We're picking that up and being able to discern what then is the anomaly. And then a lot of people, a lot of industries, I go to a lot of places, they use infrared for the electrical inspection, right? And with infrared, it's a good measure, but for things like corona, where there's not a high heat signature, you wouldn't be able to pick that up, right? And then just like with leak detection, ultrasound is very directional. So we'll be able to tell where that anomaly is coming from to pinpoint where our issue is. Now, this tool will have a few things that it's going to be well suited for, a few applications it is, and some that it's not, it's probably not the best tool for it, right? So it'll be extremely well suited for early stage partial discharge detection in insulated substations and power lines, which is going to be really important when it comes to the distance that you can pick up anomalies from. And then it's going to be well suited for detecting leaks of pressurized gas and high voltage equipment, right? So where I wouldn't use this tool, or I would use maybe an UltraProbe or something else, is in a metal enclosed cabinet, right? Because with a camera, just like any camera, I need to be able to see it for it to be able to operate, right? So if I have closed cabinets, I probably want to use maybe an UltraProbe that can scan around those small openings to pick up that ultrasound, because the camera just won't be able to show me anything unless I can open up that cabinet. Now, once again, we want to talk about those sensors, right? Having the increased number of those sensors is what really allows you, or really allows the user to be able to get the max accuracy. And when it comes to partial discharge detection, you're going to use something called pattern recognition. And what that does is the device is looking for a specific pattern to be able to discern whether that anomaly is tracking, arcing, corona, whatever it may be. And we'll talk about what that means in a second. So it's the same deal, right? With leak detection, I'm just going to point and shoot, right? Super easy. Then that device is going to recognize that sound, because tracking will sound different than arcing. So will corona, right? And then it's going to show me, hey, this is what's going on. So here's a really good picture. I'm looking for partial discharge in this cabinet. I have it open. I see that there's something going on right there, smack dab in the middle. So I'm going to use my pattern recognition of partial discharge to tell me, hey, what exactly is happening here? And here's some examples on the screen. You got your surface or internal discharge, negative and positive corona examples. Now here's the next level of reporting, right? This is where it goes above and beyond, I think, any other tool or product on the market, and that's in the reporting and suggestive actions. Not only is it going to tell you what's going on, it's going to give you a suggestion of your next move, right? I don't know where else you can find that, but with that pattern recognition, it's going to show you how it got there. Right? You have your picture, you have your 4-second clip of what's going on, and then it's going to give you a description. And if we read this one on the right, it's categorized as a surface or internal discharge. And then right below it, it's giving you a recommendation, right? So immediate action is necessary. So I don't have to kind of guess on, hey, maybe this can wait until next week, next month. Immediate action, right? Need a visual inspection. Maybe there's just some animal debris that we need to clean off, right? Or maybe there's something, but we need to clean the polluted surface and get it repaired so it doesn't continue to deteriorate. And then you're also going to have that signature. And if you guys are familiar at all with using, excuse me, our spectralizer and our FFT, our fast Fourier transfer, and our time waveform, it's going to use some of those same elements to determine, right? So when I'm using our spectralizer to determine if it's arcing, tracking, or corona, I'm going through the process of elimination, whereas this camera is using pattern recognition. So kind of similar, just a little bit different. I can see on the FFT what it looks like. I can line up with that 60 hertz. So all those same elements are still present. It's still using all that same information with some added new benefits and tricks. Now, I would just want to show you guys a visual representation of the breakdown of how that device shows you what your cost estimate is, what your leak size estimate is. It's kind of hard to see, but on the left, you're in the air version, so the leak detection version, and on the top, it shows you your decibel levels that's being generated from that leak. It's showing the leak size, and then the circle is showing you the cost, right? And that's in euros, but obviously you can change that currency within the device, put it to USD, and it'll show you the cost over the course of a year if you don't get that leak repaired. And on the right, it's showing you that partial discharge, right? So I don't have I can take away all the guesswork. Is this electrical in nature or is this a leak, right? Or what am I seeing that's on my screen? So it's showing me that my pattern, it's showing me I have some partial discharge. And then from there, when I get into the reporting version, it'll show me exactly what's going on, as well as giving me a recommendation for next steps. Now, why would I use the UltraView for partial discharge? Well, just like in leak detection, it's going to be a lot easier when it comes to this method, right? So I'm going to be detecting partial discharge before they begin to generate heat. If you're using thermography or you're using something to find the heat, then obviously we have something that's going wrong already. So partial discharge before the fact is going to be extremely helpful. Also, it's using the same technology to be able to find out if it's partial discharge or if you have something that's you don't have to worry about, or if it's a leak, right? There's no guesswork. And then lastly, using that pattern recognition, it's telling you what's going on. It's telling you what it's finding and what your next steps are going to be, right? So all that encompassed into one. And this is a device that allows you to kind of streamline your whole process, make it easier, as well as keeping a high level of accuracy and efficiency. So I think we have one more final poll question for you guys.
Okay, sorry, I was trying to find my unmute button. I've got all these boxes open with the questions and stuff. Okay, so the last poll question is, are you interested in learning more about our UltraView cameras? We obviously want to provide information to those of you that do and leave those of you alone that don't. So we're just shamelessly asking, are you interested in learning more? Looks like a good chunk of the folks on here are interested, so that's great. Good job, Alex. You did your job.
Awesome. Great, great. Well, that
Good.
is it. Unless we have some questions, that's all for the presentation from me.
Yeah, we do have a couple questions, and obviously, folks, if you want to, chime in with some more, let me just pop this box out now that I've got the poll closed. So one question, and you went over this, but just to kind of clarify, when you're doing the leak detection, you have the ability to do two different modes, right? So one where you can see just the loudest leak and one where you can see multiple. Maybe just kind of talk through that again and what the kind of reasons why you might want to do one versus the other.
Right, yeah, that's a great question. So we have a single source mode and a multiple source mode. And all that means is if I want to just see what the loudest or the biggest leak in any given area is, I'll choose that single source. But if I want to see if I have multiple issues all at once, my screen is going to kind of light up on all the areas where I have leaks if I select that multiple source mode. And if I have it in multiple source, it's going to show me kind of all of them. In the single source, it's going to show me the one that's the biggest or the loudest, the one that's going to be the most costly.
Yeah, perfect. Okay, then wondering about if like the cloud is just not an option for you, like how can folks make use of the camera, make use of the data, most importantly, and the reporting and things like that.
Well, you can still also use our Leak Survey app. That's available to everyone completely free. Just download it from the App Store, Google Play, and you can take the information that the camera is giving you, and you can put that all into the app, and it'll generate a report for you there. But like I said, you're also going to get that estimated cost on your camera already. So if you want to generate a report from there, that takes away a lot of the legwork on your part too.
Yeah, great. And just we're getting a lot of questions about kind of like, oh, can you do it for mechanical? Can you use it for, kind of different more unique applications? And I guess kind of what our sort of our stance on this is this camera is really awesome and easy and tried and true for leaks and electrical. And so what I guess we would say is there's probably definitely other things you can do with the camera, vacuum leaks, things like that, but don't invest in it for those one-off type things that may or may not give you a great result. But if you have a need for leak detection or for partial discharge detection, and you purchase this camera and get, can go use it for those main purposes, then maybe test out, okay, let me see if I can do some vacuum leaks or let me see if this will work on this. But trying to kind of worm in some of these ancillary potential applications is probably not going to be your best bet as the only reason you would buy it, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I'd agree with that 100%.
Very good. Okay, so sorry, while I was kind of answering several of those questions and that some more came through, let me just kind of get caught up here. Can you zoom the camera at all? Does it have a zoom feature?
So you have a distance feature on your right side. If you know roughly how far away you are from your potential problem area, so the device is going to do a really good job of detecting, uh, like I said, issues from a distance of over 400 feet. But if you want to help it at all, you can kind of zoom in it on the right. There's a little deal that allows you to zoom in and out. So it helps it out and makes it optimize a little bit more.
Perfect. And then another one I'm seeing in a few places is this camera intrinsically safe?
So this device is not currently rated, so wouldn't be able to be intrinsically safe just yet.
Yeah, that's always a tough one. It's very challenging, as those of you who have reasons for needing intrinsically safe would already know this. Getting instruments rated, and they're constantly changing the rules. So even once you get down a path of thinking you're close on something, something changes, and it's always very, very challenging to get that. Talk about the battery life. What are we kind of seeing folks finding with the life of the battery?
Yeah, so For continuous use, it's going to be about 4 to 5 hours. If you're out there on a long leak survey, you go into the whole facility, it's going to be doing a lot of things at once. So it's a lot of strain on that battery. But it does come with an additional battery pack. So if you, for whatever reason, if you're going over that 4 to 5 hour threshold, you can pop in that new battery and keep chugging along. But yeah, about 4 to 5 is what we're seeing.
I think you'd be able to get a good day's work done with two nicely charged batteries, is what it sounds like. So that's cool. Okay, so I think we kind of covered the main gist here. Just again, if you hopped on a little late, we were or are recording this, so we will put the link to the recording, or not the link, we'll put the video of this up on our YouTube channel. So you can just go to YouTube and search UE Systems. You'll see we've got just a huge library of videos and past webinars and all kinds of different resources there, and this will become one of them. And then we will also follow up with all of you that asked questions to be sure we did get to it, or if we didn't, that we get you your answer. And obviously, for those of you that asked for some more information, we'll definitely be following up and see if, for those that are interested, getting someone out to actually let you go do some leak surveys, or go look for some partial discharge, whichever is of interest to you. I think when you get your hands on this thing, for those that are kind of trying to compare, again, this camera, if you're used to our ultra probes, it feels very similar to holding like a 15. It's kind of got that same sort of feeling to it. So being able to use just the one hand, it's not very heavy at all. You could really spend all day, using this thing and not have any issues. And again, our reporting, and for those of you that are, already using our software and things like that, you're familiar with how nicely we can quantify leaks. And I think the software with the very visual aspect is just a really nice way of being able to kind of sell up the ladder, why something like this and why fixing your leaks and paying attention to them is so important. So I think you'll see that is a huge differentiator between our camera and the others that are out there. But anyway, Alex, fantastic presentation. I'm just going to pop my screen back over, so you guys, if you want to take down like our like where to find us on LinkedIn and all those things, we've got that there, our YouTube channel. And I thank everybody for being with us here today. Like I said, we'll be doing lots of follow-ups with you guys. We've got lots more webinars in the works for the coming months, so you'll be hearing from us about those. But yeah, again, thanks for being with us today, and we will catch you guys later.